Called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Here.
Mrs. Rich?
Here.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Here.
Mr. Parzak?
Here.
The meeting is now open. Adequate notice of the meeting was provided by posting a copy of the time and place on the municipal clerk's bulletin board and mailing a copy of same to the press and the Cape May County Herald on January 6th, 2018. Will everyone please rise to salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any communications?
No, Mayor.
We'll now have public comment. Anyone wishing to address mayor and council may do so at this time by coming forward to the microphone and stating your name and address for the record. Public comment is closed. Ordinance 1533.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1533 be taken up on second reading.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1533 on second reading?
An ordinance of the Borough of Stone Harbor to implement the borough's housing plan element and fair share plan.
The public hearing on ordinance 1533 is open. The public hearing is closed.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1533 be passed on second reading and advanced to third and final reading.
Second?
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1533 on third and final reading?
An ordinance of the Borough of Stone Harbor to implement the borough's housing plan element and fair share plan.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1533 be passed on third and final reading, adopted, and published according to law.
Second?
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Ordinance 1534.
Mayor and council, I move that ordinance 1534 be taken up on second reading.
Second?
All those in favor? Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1534 on second reading?
An ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Revised General Ordinances, Chapter 4, excuse me, regulation of unmanned aircraft.
The public hearing on ordinance 1534 is open.
Mayor, may I ask a question at this time or not?
When does she speak? Well, let me close the public hearing, and then the public hearing is now closed.
All right, I know we've discussed this numerous times, but previously in our conversation, we had one about height, how far they could go above the bulkhead, the drones, and I don't see that in there, and it doesn't say where you apply for a permit or what the cost is.
How far above the bulkhead?
Yeah, like, so that they don't come down and look at people in the pool, the drones.
I don't remember a discussion about height. I mean, the invasion of privacy is in here, that you can't invade somebody's privacy. I'd want to call the police and they can enforce that.
Okay.
So
And how about permits and?
the permits, you know, yeah, we did talk about the permits before. I read this a couple times today. I mean, it basically says in 405.14 that you need a permit pursuant to federal, state, or municipal authorities, but on the next page, it talks about you can't fly these things in the open spaces without a remote control pilot certificate issued by the FAA. So I'm assuming that if they have a pilot certificate issued by the FAA or from some state organization, that we would accept that. However, if they do fly it, they still have to comply with all these stipulations where you can't do this, that, and the other thing with your drone. And the intent really is to, as I've said before, to give people the ability to, if they're going to use them for real estate advertisements, things of that nature, or if the Chamber of Commerce wants to hire somebody to take pictures of one of their wine festivals for promotions in the future.
Right.
Other than that, they're not allowed here. You know, you
But
can't-
even so, those organizations, where do they get the permit and
Where does the
what's the
FAA
cost?
get-
I mean, they go to the FAA for an application, but where's the permit come from? It says from the borough.
It says a
Partly it
license.
says from the borough.
It states right at 405.15F An operator may present a copy of his or her RPC to the borough along with other information on forms provided by the Borough of Stone Harbor Police Department.
Okay. Thank you.
That would be their permit.
Yeah.
So they would have the forms that get
So it goes
submitted.
through the
Yep.
police department. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think it's my turn again.
It is.
I move that 1534 be passed on second reading and advanced to third and final reading.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1534 on third and final reading?
An ordinance amending Chapter 4, Regulation of Unmanned Aircraft.
Mayor and council, I move that ordinance 1534 be passed on third and final reading, adopted, and published according to law.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Ordinance 1535.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1535 be taken up on second reading.
Second.
This is,
Stand by.
I'm sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1535 on second reading?
An ordinance to adopt the amusement games licensing law.
The public hearing on ordinance 1535 is open. The public hearing is closed.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that 1535 be passed on second reading and advance to third and final reading.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Will the clerk,
I'm sorry.
will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1535 on third and final reading?
Second.
An ordinance to adopt the amusement games licensing law.
Okay, motion that ordinance 1535 be passed on third and final reading, adopted, and published according to law.
Now
Second. Somebody
He says no.
wake up.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Ordinance 1536.
I'd like to make the motion that ordinance 1536 be taken up on first reading. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1536 on first reading?
An ordinance amending ordinance 1524 pertaining to environmentally accepted packaging and product.
I'd like to make the motion that ordinance 1536 be passed on first reading, published according to law, taken up on second, third, and final reading, and adoption at the meeting of mayor and council, which will be December 4th, 2018. Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Ordinance 1537.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1537 be taken up on first reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1537 on first reading?
An ordinance establishing and fixing salary ranges for certain positions within the borough.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance 1537 be passed on first reading, published according to law, and that it be taken up on second, third, and final reading and adoption at a meeting of mayor and council to be held on the fourth day of December 2018.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S-197.
Mayor and council, I offer resolution 2018-S-198 for adoption.
We're going to change them all by one number
Until-
because of our closed session being pushed to the end.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, just so everybody's aware, so you don't get confused.
so instead of 198, that was what?
197.
97.
Okay.
Did we get a second?
Second.
Okay, and what is it?
This is to procure a Tahoe through the state contract for the police department.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S-198.
Madam Mayor, I move, I offer resolution 2018-S198 for adoption.
Second.
This resolution is to refund building sewer replacement cost in the amount of $969.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S-199.
Madam Mayor, I offer Resolution 2018 S-199 for adoption.
Second.
This is for, we discussed previously, the 95th Street bathroom for an increase of $17,595.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
No.
Mrs. Gallagher?
No. May I explain why? This has nothing to do with those downtown bathrooms. I want them to be beautiful. I want them to look like they belong in a premium town. However, I cannot answer to the people who have put us in these seats and tell those taxpayers that I can justify more than $20,000 for 7 spigots.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S-200.
Madam Mayor, I offer Resolution 2018 S-200 for adoption.
Second.
This is to award the 2018 Utility and Road Program
And-
contract.
Sorry. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S-201.
I'd like to offer Resolution 2018 S-201 for adoption.
Second.
This is our endorsing our housing element and fair share plan.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S-202.
I offer Resolution 2018 S-202 for adoption.
Second.
And this is the adoption of a spending plan for the affordable housing.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Resolution 2018 S-203.
It has Gallagher on mine.
I have Kramer on mine.
I have Kramer.
Well, I have Gallagher. So, let's go back to that. I'll offer Resolution 2018 S-203 for adoption,
Second.
and this is to adopt the COA spending plan for affordable housing in Stone Harbor.
The next one,
What's the next
That's
the
right.
affirmative marketing program.
I've already done that.
Well, there's nothing in between mine,
Okay.
if you'd like to check
This
it.
is to approve the affirmative marketing program
Any discussion?
to do with COA.
Any
I have
discussion?
that at 204.
Yeah, we had to change,
Which is
everything
now
changed by one
203.
number.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
so that's 203.
All right, so that's for the affirmative marketing program, which is the same thing, has to do with COA.
We got our second.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
I need a motion to reject the bids we received for the Open Space Bikeway Initiative and to rebid.
So moved.
We'll advertise the rebid November 9th, 2018, receive the bids November 28th, 2018, award the bid December 4th, 2018.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any items, I don't see any items of discussion on the agenda.
Yes, I have something I wish to say. For 26 years, I've worked in positions serving Stone Harbor. They include president of the Garden Club, vice president of the Civic Club, trustee of the former ROA, which is now the SHOPA, person of the year, vice president of the board of the American Legion's Auxiliary, original member of the Shade Tree Committee, County League of Municipalities president, just to name a few. And most importantly, I've been councilwoman for the past 9 years, which makes me the senior person on council. I've been proud to serve in all these capacities, and I am proud of the many things that we've accomplished together. But recently, something happened that I feel not only disrespects me, but most importantly undermines the standards and values that I believe you expect and deserve from your council. As you know, Karen Lane resigned as council president, leaving the position open for 2 months. The nomination for council president was purposely done while I was away on vacation. In the previous 9 years, any important decision such as this has always been tabled until all council members were present. This nomination was done underhandedly and secretly by 3 council people with an agenda. They purposely did this to achieve the outcome they wanted to achieve. This under-the-table maneuver was totally unfair. Had I been here, it would have been a 3-3 tie. Had I been elected, the term would have only been for 2 months, and a new council president would have been nominated and elected the first of the year. How very sad that this has come to this. In closing, I want to point out that Ray and Charles, 2 of our council people, were not part of this action. I consider them to be people of integrity, and I thank them for their support. The public and Stone Harbor can count on them for unbiased decisions, being accountable for their actions, and not owing anyone, and thinking of Stone Harbor first, as I have always done. And with that being said, I have something else I want to say, and if you don't mind passing these to everybody. We have an ordinance on the book which describes the role of council president, which as a previous council president, I abided by those rules. The past council president decided to take into her own hands and enhance the position of council president, attending agenda meetings and setting her own agenda, bringing forth ordinances and resolutions that she thought should be changed, removing an ordinance or resolution that had been posted on the agenda for discussion or to move forward, sometimes within hours of our scheduled council meetings. Nowhere in the ordinance does it state that the role of council president has that authority. I did question this practice several times. If this is to be the rule of council and continue, then the ordinance needs to be changed. Also, the ordinance reads "he" in the entire context and needs to be changed to "he/she." Thank you very much.
We can look at the code and see if anywhere else there's any other duties included anywhere else in the code as far as anything that the president of council does. And this is the one section that we have. Okay. Okay. So moving forward, if we want to discuss adding additional responsibilities to the president of council, that is something that we can talk about and we can vote on, or whether or not we see a need for that or not, so we can put that on the agenda in the future for a discussion to see if we want this, the code to remain as it is, or if we want to modify it in some way. Any other items of discussion? May I have a motion approving the bills?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the bill list and authorize the CFO to pay the bills when the funds are available and the vouchers are properly signed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? At this time, we are about to consider a resolution to go into private session. We would appreciate it if you would all remain seated until the resolution has been acted upon. At the conclusion of the private session, we will come back into public session for the purpose of either taking action as a result of our discussion in private session or to simply adjourn. It is also possible that someone might bring up some other item of business in public session after we come back from private session. Let me get my number on here. So this would, Resolution 2018 S-204.
Mayor and council, I'd like to offer Resolution 2018-S-204 for adoption.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Kramer? Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher? Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
And for the record, items to be discussed include purchase, lease, sale, or acquisition of real property and possible litigation.